Warning: this program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. With your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
Hello, everybody. This is Berzerker here, and this is going to be a somewhat unusual episode of the Unshackled Fury podcast. And if anything, this is not really Berzerker coming to you and Navox coming to you. This is John and Adam, joined by Lisa, Adam's other half. Because this week, we're not really talking about Warcraft stuff. There's a lot of other crazy things going on in the world with coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. And we kind of joked about this last episode when things were starting to pop off. And now it's here and it's pretty real. And most of our lives have been affected significantly in one way or another. So I thought for this week, we're going to do something a little different. We're just going to talk about sort of our experiences of what it's been like as of late. And certainly for the other two folks on this show who have seen a few disaster preparedness events before and a few disasters that then followed, get their experiences and maybe some tales out of that. And then also, just because, we're here, we have a voice, we have a show, I thought that we could share some of the best practices that have been put out by the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention here in the United States, just to kind of help spread the word rather than spread the virus. And that's the best joke I got for the moment. So, welcome to the show, Nav and Lisa, and thanks for making some time today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So how are things going on in your neck of the woods? Because I know when we talked last night, I know. I think all of us were just doing family time because it was something like we've not experienced anything like this ever. Like,
and that's saying a lot for you Florida folk.
Yeah. When we have hurricanes come, we have a map that we can track it. We have predictions. The weather forecasters go, here is where the danger is coming. And if you're here, seek shelter. And once the danger passes, you're good. And now we're fighting something that's unknown. Like, honest to God, I could be affected with it right now. Lisa could be affected with it right now. We don't have any symptoms at all. But we have the potential of walking outside and infecting other people and creating our own little what are they calling it, their own little cell, right? Cluster, yeah. So it's and people going crazy over toilet paper, over everything.
Every place I've been to has been sold out.
So and that's the thing, like so we could jump right into it. This started for us here. I think it started for us 2 weeks ago. I think if I recall that right, it was 2 weeks ago. And I don't know what it was. I think it was a news article that I saw coming out of Australia where people were ransacking a store for toilet paper.
Yeah.
And we had gone to we have a Walmart neighborhood market here, and we went in there shopping, and I looked at the shelves and I'm like, well, there's plenty of toilet paper here, but you know what? I'm going to grab 2. I get the Scott tissue, which is terrible. Lisa hates it.
Yeah, you got to upgrade it some of that.
Thinnest ply on the planet.
Yeah, you got to get the one that's got the pooping bears on it. That's the best brand right there.
But yeah, so I picked up 2 packages of toilet paper just so that we had it. And I also picked up some water because not that our water still works. Water works great.
Yeah.
And I think the water is going to work everywhere for everybody else. The problem for us though is that hurricane season's coming and we need the water for that. So I bought it and I stored that and we're just drinking tap water. But I was worried because the water got cleaned out. Like when we were there this week, there was no water, there was no toilet paper, there's no eggs, there's no milk. This is insane. We've never seen anything like this.
And hurricane season lasts from when to when?
I believe it is June till November. I believe that's it.
Yeah. So you guys could theoretically get hit with all of this and then hurricane season.
Oh, and if we got hit, the problem with that also, the problem with that becomes, they can't evacuate people to shelters because
it's like putting them in a big petri dish.
A big petri dish, exactly.
I would say it's almost a triple whammy of the virus spreading to begin with, then having a very large demographic of the most high-risk people, and then also having the number 1 state for hurricanes, and getting closer to those months. It is beyond terrifying just because we're already low on supplies. We already have a lot of cases in our state. And if we get hit with a hurricane, it's going to be round 2 of everybody panic buying.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be anything to panic buy. And the problem that I noticed was what was so different about trying to prepare for the coronavirus was that when you walk into the store for a hurricane, you get things that you can eat and prepare without electric, without water. And this time we were going in there and going, well, I mean, why would theoretically the power go out or we not have water or anything? So we're like, we can get pasta and we could get all of these shelf-stable things that we can still cook. So that's what started to, it seems so minor, but that was the main thing that made it feel so weird and different to me, was that we were still buying like chicken and ground beef and stuff to cook, and it didn't feel right because I was like, oh, like this stuff's gonna go bad, like the power goes out and the fridge goes out and like everything's gonna go bad. But in the weirdest of ways, it just felt like we were trying to do the biggest grocery shopping trip of our life. And the stuff that people chose to hoard, I don't understand. I think the common sense is that you want soap, you want the important essentials for sanitation. And I have to tell you, when this first started getting out of hand about a week or 2 ago, there was plenty of soap. And by soap, I mean like the big like bottles of hand soap refill. That you would, fill your soap at home. Things like just any liquid soap, even bar soap. I mean, I wouldn't recommend bar soap like if you still have to go to work and share it with coworkers, but bar soap is still soap. And it's just like everyone just went for the sanitizer, and it was driving me kind of crazy because the instructions that we kept being given were hand sanitizer if you can't get to wash your hands with soap and water. It wasn't, this is the only way you're going to wash your hands is with sanitizer. And it feels like that's what everybody ran with. And that's when that turned into, now it's like a gold currency, like go buy a house with hand sanitizer. It's just, it's insane.
My knuckles are like beef jerky at this point.
My gosh.
Like they're horrible. Like I've never washed my hands this much. Like honest to God, I don't. I mean, I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom and right before I eat. But now it's gotten to the point where, like right now, and also the other thing is we're talking at this point that we are self-quarantined at this point. Like our managers have said, you guys are working from home until further notice. And, if you need to come into work and get anything, come into work and get what you need and bring your stuff home. And that's it, which was really, we're fortunate to be in a position where our managers are letting us do that. But and I know a lot of people aren't able to do that. The nurses, the people at the grocery store, emergency management, our first responders. They're still working. So, and honest to God, something we didn't really think about until recently was, God bless them, the UPS and FedEx drivers.
Oh man,
they're still working. And they are essential. And we were talking about that today, like. These people are the ones that actually need to be paid a hell of a lot more than what they're making right now.
Hazard pay.
Things have to hazard pay. Exactly. I mean, people are at home ordering stuff on Amazon and Walmart and hoping that things get delivered. And then you got these people that have to go door to door and they're delivering stuff and, becoming, susceptible to it all.
Yeah, I don't think any of us could stress enough the importance of patience and kindness when you're out in public.
Oh, no joke.
Going into a grocery store. Seriously, it's so stressful right now, but we all have to not lose our temper because you're dealing with employees that they would love to be home too. They would love to be home and, well, I mean, I'm sure they would still like to be working and having their income, but for the most part, it's a luxury when you have an office job and you can work from home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I've been seeing a lot of pictures of, lines out the door of grocery stores in our area, and it sends me into a panic, and I'm like, oh, this is scary. I hope we have enough. And then I think, what about the people that are working, watching all that inventory fly off the shelves, wondering, like, is there going to be anything for me when I get off my shift?
Yep.
So I've been feeling especially, sympathetic and sad for everyone who doesn't have a choice. And, my heart goes out to them. And, it's like a no-win situation there. It's really, they're so essential and vital. And yet, how do you help them get to have their quarantine time? I don't know. It's just, we've never been prepared for this before. So it's like we have to figure this out as we go.
Yeah.
Which, so far we haven't been that great with it.
Now, and California, from what I understand, you guys are under a curfew now, right? I mean, isn't that it? Or quarantine? Aren't you guys?
So it's pretty mixed. So out here in California, we've pretty much been getting a new set of guidelines, we'll say, from the state, from the governor. And part of what's confusing about that is that these are not executive orders, right? These are strong recommendations, right? It's kind of a parsing of legal terms, I guess, to some degree, because one of them being is that there has now been directions to self-quarantine if you are over 65. So everyone that's over 65 should stay indoors. But what are you going to do if, a bunch of rogue septuagenarians decide we're going to go down and have breakfast at McDonald's? Like, they're not going to go arrest these people, right? It's
go eat dinner at Bob Evans.
Yeah, you go for that 4:30 steak dinner at Denny's. No one's going to throw you in the paddy wagon. But that's kind of what's going on right now, is that they're saying, okay, well, we want to reduce the number of people in restaurants. We want to close bars. We want to, do all of these things, but it's also kind of an on your honor system to enact a lot of these things. And kind of to your point, Lisa, it's, having some recognition that you're looking out for the community, because that's really what all of this is intended to do. Is you're looking at, like, other social health issues, is you're looking out for your most vulnerable populations. Like, the chances of us dying from this thing is much, much lower than, say, our parents, our grandparents, if we're fortunate enough to have any of them around. So it's a much different story when you look at it through that lens. As of today, the 6 Bay Area counties have now gone into essentially self-containment. I can't remember the words that they used for it. But now those counties, the major Bay Area, are essentially shut down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a big fucking deal. And there's no two ways about
Yeah.
that. I mean, we here in the Sacramento area, grocery stores are wiped out. I've made a few runs here, there, and everywhere. I've kind of posted some of this stuff on Twitter. It does feel like you're in some kind of a Mad Max situation where it's you and everybody else just fighting for the scraps of whatever's left, trying to figure out.
Oh, and then someone sneezes or coughs, and then everybody turns and looks at them
Like get out. Like
Yep.
you're a lost cause. Get out. I need my Chef Boyardee,
Yep.
and I don't want you getting me sick. So yeah, it's it goes beyond that too, right? So we have all of the crazy stuff that's going on with people, and you have to strike a balance, right? Because with say like the closures in the Bay Area, have you stocked up? Can you go 2 or 3 weeks or more without having to go anywhere? Like, can you stay isolated? Can you stay contained without having to expose any kind of risk to yourself or to your family by being out amongst the general public right now? And so you have had people that have gone out and tried to stock up, I think, responsibly. Some people that have gone out and just completely blown the wad and bought up as much of everything that they could possibly get their hands on. There are some people within my own family who think all of this is essentially a borderline hoax and have done no preparations of any kind.
Oh, no.
So I've had to have some kind of awkward conversations recently where I'm like, maybe it won't be as bad as some of the projections say. However, what would you rather do? Prepare and be like, well, I guess I don't need all of this stuff, or not be ready and go, oh shit, I need all of these things, and now I'm in trouble.
That's and we were having that discussion today. It's that normally when something like this happens and the recommendations come out, you're gonna have one side of the fence that goes, oh well, see, everybody was scared and nothing happened. Everybody hid out in their house and see, no one got sick. Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, yeah.
That's the outcome we wanted. Nobody got sick. We were told to stay home. Listen, I got to tell you something. We went through the same thing with family where we were told that Bill Gates owns the coronavirus strand and he's got it patented and he's released it out into the world and he's the reason why. And we're like, oh my God, stop.
Yeah.
Please, people, go back and look at science, look at science and when you're looking at the news, I'm more interested in what that doctor, I forget what the gentleman's name is, what he has to say. He's
Fauci?
Dr. Fauci. Yes. He's been, it's been great listening to him speak and, his more,
talking science and facts?
I hope he gets some rest because he's looking tired. And we're not dealing with hunches and everything's beautiful and don't worry, everything's, and
phenomenal.
I know we're trying not to get too political on the show, but
hard not to on this.
Had leadership, the human conditioning will find a way. We are self-reliant. We will self-preserve. We will go out and we will protect ourselves. And whether it be fear or fear of not being able to sustain life for your family or your immediate family, your extended family, we went into this mode of, okay, well, let's take care of number one first because we need to make sure that we're good here. Mm-hmm. And then I called my parents. My parents said they're okay. Mm-hmm. Lisa called her parents. They said, we're fine. And then we thought, okay, great. Everybody is good. And then 2 days later, we get a call from Lisa's mom, pissed off that there's no toilet paper. She called me at work saying, Mom can't get toilet paper. Mm-hmm. I bolted. I left work immediately, ran to Target, bought 2 rolls of toilet paper that were there, and I said, I call Lisa up. I'm like, look, I got your parents' toilet paper so that they have toilet paper. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, we just ordered it online. Okay, fine. We still have it for you. We got you covered. That's it.
Oh, you're lucky you could get it online.
Yeah, they were lucky they got it online.
I still don't know if it
But
was delivered.
My mom still
successfully.
thinks that she can just order food online anytime she wants, like groceries. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know what news you're not paying attention to, but the landscape is changing, and you need to be able to adapt to this situation a little more fluidly.
We were told that there's not over and over again. We were told there's not going to be a food shortage. There's no shortage in the food supply chain. With this many people panic buying, how could you not have a shortage? Now, had this been head off a little bit sooner, saying, here's the situation we're in. We're going to do everything in our power to get these tests created, where we understand that there's certain medical pieces, there's personal medical devices that need to be created, and we are going to start manufacturing this on a larger scale, and we're going to get it to the hospitals that need it. And folks, we need to start practicing social distancing now, and taking responsibility for that. I think had the leadership come out and actually spearheaded this, I don't think a lot of the panic buying would have taken place. And I hate to go back to a movie reference, but in Batman: The Dark Knight, when Joker does his spiel and says, if I call tomorrow and say I'm going to blow up I forget what he says, if I'm going to blow up
a truckload of soldiers,
a busload of children on the people don't. If I say I'm going to do it at this time, people aren't going to lose their, they don't panic. But if I'm going to say I'm going to blow up a random hospital, people lose their mind because, you're telling them that this is coming and be prepared for it, rather than, it's going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. Okay, we're going to be fine. The stock market's great, beautiful. Never seen stock market this great before.
I like adjectives too. But
yeah, exactly.
I like facts and answers more.
Give us some.
And I have to say that much like how quickly this virus has spread, panic spread just as quickly because too much time was spent not handling that. I know we're not going to try to go too deep into that. So that's all I'll really say on that.
Yeah, but
no.
So what happened? We'll go past that. We're past that. We're done. We said our piece with okay. So what we did was we tried to think what did we need to get in order to self-sustain for a good 2 to 3 months. We are honest to God, we are blessed in that we were able to. We have dry rice. We are black beans and rice people. So yeah, exactly.
I also don't really know. I've never bothered to figure out how to calculate how many weeks or months of something of a supply is. I mean, I never really pay that much of attention. So I'm like, how would we really, when people say, oh, I have 6 months worth of food. It's like, I doubt we have 6 months worth of food.
5 beans.
Yeah.
And then
6 grains of rice and a half a cup of water.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
And
I don't know. I'm just
quite honestly, what this has actually had me thinking about is the Depression. Way back that none of us were here for. But I remember the stories from my grandparents who were very, very young. And, just from history. And totally different scenario. So, I don't want anyone thinking I'm trying to compare something here. But in the sense of people rationing and appreciating every little thing that they had and not letting anything go to waste.
That's right.
That's where our mindset is. And I carry a little bit of guilt thinking, I don't think I've been doing that good of a job at that all this time. And it took something of this magnitude for me to go, okay, if it gets down to the bottom of the barrel and, we're stuck, we're going to really ration our food. And then I realized one step further.
Frodo's first. He's got the most meat on him.
He does have some meaty thighs. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but seriously,
you're talking about something else.
we're already rationing.
Yeah.
We have a comfortable amount of food, but we're already rationing because why take chances?
And also, we got to worry about our parents, and that's the thing. And that's been
And if they need food and
Yeah.
there's no food, they can, have our food. So that's where what we're stuck with now is saying, let's not be all excited like, ooh, we got all this stuff. We'll just eat whatever we want. It's like, you really don't need that much food to get through the day, especially when you're hanging in the house and not burning a whole lot of fuel. So we have already shifted our mindset to, go slow on the food. If we're going to make eggs in the morning, of the few eggs we have left, it's like one egg.
Yeah.
One slice of toast. It's not the big breakfast anymore. And we are doing just fine with that. It's totally fine. But I think that this is a good opportunity for those of us who are fortunate enough to try and ration so we can spread our food out longer.
I was going to say.
And also not contribute to the problem of going to the store and taking from people who maybe haven't gotten off of work yet because they do have to go to work and they need to come to the store and get food. And I get that, you guys have an awesome podcast audience, so I'm sure, I'm preaching to the choir here. But for those people out there who haven't considered it, it's, this is a great time for us as humanity to be more considerate and think about, do we have enough, and can we maybe let that go to somebody else instead? It's a big mindset shift, but it's sad that it's taking this,
Oh no, it's everything. This situation is going to change how life is until the day we die. I mean, honest to God, it is. I know that there's people out there that don't. You saw. I'm sure it's been nationwide at this point. Clearwater Beach. I don't know if you've seen the video of everybody just ooh, it's spring break. We're just gonna all party out at the beach.
Haven't seen that one yet. No.
Yeah, so, it's the younger folks out there are like, this isn't going to affect me. No, but you know what? It's going to affect my parents. So, and I got to tell you something. It's been tough because my parents are huggers. My parents we love to give big hugs. And we've been like, listen, Mom, you've got to stay in that glass stay. We go to their house and Mom pulls the glass door up. The storm door. And she stands behind there and she talks to us through there. And Dad's like, I want to come out. And we're like, no, Dad, you can't come out because you are you're compromised. Don't. But that's been kind of tough because Dad was real happy when he saw us today, and we couldn't.
He was sitting on a bench in the front of the house, and we pulled into the driveway, and he lit up, and he was so excited to see us.
We're like, Dad, go in the house.
We're so stressed. We're so exhausted from running around trying to get things going and first time for me trying to adapt to full working from home and all this stuff going on. And we just started yelling almost the minute we got out of the car. We're like, get in the house now. And his face just kind of dropped. Like, what? I'm getting yelled at by the kids.
The whole retraining you have to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will all pass. This will pass. It will get better.
Yeah, but to your point, it is a massive historical moment.
Oh yeah, no.
And like all of them, it will always leave a ripple.
Oh yeah, and this is definitely going to change the way. I mean, we're going to be living with COVID for the next year. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we're dealing with the first. Honest to God, we're dealing with the first. Iteration of it, and then it'll subside during the summer and come back in the wintertime again. It's not gone.
No, and I think that the projections were something like 60% of the country, 60% of Americans will come into contact with it within the next year, 18 months, something like that. So, yeah, it's becoming more widespread, and as we talked about a couple times, a lot of the measures that we're putting in place are to protect people like your parents, and to make sure that this stays as contained as possible. And part of what we've seen too is sort of the short-sightedness of the folks that you mentioned, like the spring break folks, where I know that a lot of universities are canceling classes, right? And or they're moving things online, and they are, in some instances, throwing students out of student housing. Which, where do you go? What do you do in that instance? I have no idea. And for us here, we were trying to chug along as best we could, and then our son's school gets closed for a month. And all of his before and after school care gets canceled for that same time. All of his athletics get canceled for the same time. So then we suddenly, over the course of hours, find ourselves in a situation where we have no other options other than to do some kind of telework, or if telework is not approved, then we have to use our leave, which is what a lot of people are having to do, is to either isolate themselves or to weather out the storm, so to speak. People are having to burn sick leave or vacation if they're allowed to do it. It's all very mishmash. There's no real coordinated plan, and I think that to what you guys were talking about earlier is, I think that's what makes this even more difficult, is that it is changing moment to moment. And that there is no coordinated effort of real sustained size. And I think that one of the things we were talking about in my office today, because today we were finally given the authorization in my office to do teleworking. And so the rest of my management team and I spent the entire day putting together telework agreements and figuring out, how are we going to do this? What do people need? How are we going to be able to do a lot of the more archaic functions that we do through the, basically just through the computer, because we got a lot of stuff that we still need wet signatures for, believe it or not, in this day and age.
Oh, wow.
And how are we going to do that now? How are we going to, get everybody on board with this? And, we're at an inflection point where, to put it bluntly, shit is weird. And
and
we're having to do things in a frame of thought that we, at least of our generation and those near to it, haven't done in a very long time, if ever. And it's a time when I love having the perspective of folks who have been through shit like this before, because for them, I think they can shine that firsthand knowledge on what are the things to actually worry about? What are the things not to worry about? Like, am I spending my efforts on stuff that's, worthwhile? Because, like yourselves, I think all of us are pretty exhausted. Like, no stretch of the imagination. Just the last several years have been exhausting.
Yes, absolutely.
With something like this, and there's a health panic going on, it's a lot to try to figure out in a relatively short period of time to try to get everybody on board. And so I know for us now, we're trying to figure out school plans for my son, because the school didn't give us anything. School is closed. That is it. And so for us, we found Scholastic. I think it's Scholastic, the school supply company.
Yes,
they have free online lesson plans. Good. There are other sort of resources like that. And so every day, what we're trying to do now is pull, okay, we're going to do some math, and we're going to do some grammar, and we're going to do some journaling, and maybe we'll find like a science show that we can watch or something like that. And so that's now the position we find ourselves in, and I imagine many other people do, where we're having to, one, try to do the makeshift homeschooling, two, having to figure out how to now have a couple of offices where people are teleworking in the same space, and then three, trying to keep your health in a certain kind of box to make sure that you're not endangering yourself or others. And it is a lot to take on, and in a relatively short period of time. And I will say, just sitting here now, this is why we didn't do this yesterday, tonight being the 16th of March 2020. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do this tonight, because quite frankly, my brain is just fried.
St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, though.
I know.
Woo-hoo! We're gonna have tacos because it's Taco Tuesday.
Because we couldn't get potatoes. We couldn't make shepherd's pie.
Yeah, I mean, it is a crazy time, and just because this is a Warcraft show, Blizzard has sent their folks home for a month, I believe.
Yeah,
which I think is good.
I do too. And if anything comes out of this, besides our healthcare, the change in our healthcare system is paramount. That needs to change. But another thing that needs to change is the fact that people need to understand that the internet is a utility. It is not a luxury anymore. It is now.
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity, and they.
Yeah, you thought the economy was going bad. Now, imagine if nobody could telework.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like everybody had to keep doing the same thing that they were doing.
I just got chills. I never even thought about that. That's chilling.
What's great is though, and my job is, my job's Microsoft. I do Microsoft Office 365 support and all that kind of stuff. So it's, 90% of what I do is cloud based. Actually, I'll say 80% because we do have, some Active Directory stuff that's on
cloud. What
servers.
Is it?
Exactly. It's everything's in the cloud. It's beautiful.
Where's the cloud?
We have the most beautiful cloud. But yeah, so it is a necessity. It is definitely a utility, and I hope that we can stop with these bandwidth limits. And I see people going, "Oh, I got my warning from Cox saying that my bandwidth is almost I've used 90% of my bandwidth for this month already." I mean, come on, people. I don't these providers need to lighten up, especially now with everything going on. I mean,
there's a buck to be made. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I was going to pass on to you that I too, as I assume other people have had this problem, I have had a lot of chapped hand business going on because of my hand washing, particularly around my knuckles, and for whatever reason, this weird spot on the back of my thumb. I have found one of these products right here. This is O'Keefe's Working Hands Hand Cream.
I just got a fresh bottle.
This stuff is pretty good. There's also a few out there, and you know what? I'm not a big hand cream lotion guy because it just seems icky. But I'll tell you what, for this, it's pretty handy. And these are the kinds of things that we sort of figure out and fumble along our way as we go into this sort of new world. It's like, all right,
absolutely.
This wasn't important before, but I'll tell you what, when my knuckles are bleeding after I wash my hands, I'm like, I gotta do something about this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
my hands look a lot older than me right now.
Yeah.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend that one. There's also another one that I use, but I can't remember the name. But, I'll kind of coinciding with that sort of self-care. This is another sort of common topic that comes up with a lot of people moving to telework, myself included, you folks, and I assume a number of our listeners. Teleworking is its own kind of challenge, in the sense that not only are you trying to figure out how do I accomplish the daily tasks that I've always done in my office setting now somewhere else, but there's also an added factor, and you see this a lot, especially within our community, within the gaming community, where there's a lot of depression, people feel isolated, there's a whole other battle that goes on in trying to manage your day when you're not around other people. And when you're stuck at a desk because you're now, quote unquote, teleworking or remote working or whatever you want to call it. So just as kind of one of the things that I would say to anyone listening to this is, if you are in this situation where you are teleworking as we get through this period of time, please be mindful of your needs in terms of your mental health, because that will help you immensely in a variety of ways, but it will also make sure that you have a better path as you get through this period of time. Because let me tell you, there's already enough to go on to get you hyped up out there in the world. But when you're stuck in your home for days or weeks at a time, having an outlet, taking some time for yourself, doing whatever you got to do to stay on the up and up, it's as important as covering your mouth when you cough and washing your hands. I mean, it is that level of severity that I would say. But I don't really have a lot of experience teleworking. It's been a long, long time since I've ever done it. But Nav, I know that you kind of do this on the regular.
Yes.
So what is your kind of experience like with teleworking? Do you have tips and tricks perhaps for our listeners is if they're one of the folks now moving into this type of work?
Yeah, so I get to e-work on Fridays normally, but now it's moved.
E-work.
It's called e-working. Yeah, so I get to e-work on Fridays normally. And then, but now that we're e-working permanently till,
Do you have an end date for yours? Because we don't.
We do not. And when I talked to a gentleman that works public communications for us, when I made the joke because I was talking to him on the phone today, I'm like, this is surreal. I said, we're used to hurricanes. He's like, don't say that. He's like, we're going to be in this till, he's like, we're going to come out of this right at the time. And I'm like, okay, so, I think we're looking more like April, something like that, April, May, before we probably return back to work.
We're talking June.
Okay, so my mom had said that tonight. And we were just like, you're embellishing, Mom. Don't but yeah, that I could see that. But so typical day, I'll wake up at 6:00 and get up, take a shower, get dressed, and go downstairs, make some coffee, and be out the door, going to work. Working from home, I set that alarm clock for 7:30. I sleep a little bit extra. And
now, see, they say that
no
you shouldn't
commute.
change your patterns.
Oh, no. Change your pattern. Get that extra sleep. You absolutely. I'm going to tell you something because you're going to find that you're going to get a lot. So you're going to find you're going to get a lot more work done, actually, not during a normal work hour. You're going to find more productivity, believe it or not, between 4:00 and 7:00 p.m. I don't know what it is with that time period, for me at least. It's just, I work all day constantly, and
Is this truly
the majority of...
Yes, and I think honestly it's a simple combination of during the day he's interrupted with all the incoming emails and all the phone calls and all of that, and cats jumping on the desk. Whereas at night, he's naturally a night owl. Not that he always does this and he's slowed down, but he'll have a cup of coffee at night and then he'll be really like in productivity mode. So I can speak to that. Yes.
I have to say this. So, so I get up. So on an e-work day, I'll get up, I make coffee. That's the first thing. Coffee is the most important thing in the morning. Number one thing in the morning is coffee.
Hell yeah.
Then I usually sit down, look at my email. I have to start a work log. Like we have to start I have an Excel spreadsheet that I use. I share it with my manager and I log my hours and what I'm doing at those hours. On top of that, during this time period, I also have to fill out a FEMA form. Because whenever they declare a national emergency, they give you a FEMA form to fill out. Anything you do for emergency services, you have to fill this out so they get reimbursed the money for that. Anyway, all that being said, so what I'll do is I'll sit there, I look at my email, and do a couple work orders, and then I'll probably sit at my desk from 7:00, 7:30, 8:00 till 10:00. And I have to get up at that point. I cannot sit. And nobody can sit for that long. And it really sucks.
And you shouldn't. Even if you can, you should not.
And you know what's funny? I have a standing desk thing at work. I should have picked it up, but I didn't. I have no room. I have no room for it. But
when in here do you do your horrific visions?
That's funny.
What are you farming AP? That's really what the people came for.
So that's funny because it's tough, because what you want to do is if you do want to get some game time in while you're working, it's really important not to put yourself in a position that could mess up a horrific vision, say your boss calls, because there's a big difference between regular typing an email and then him calling and it's like what are you doing? Like,
I'm working.
So
that daily ain't gonna do itself.
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's plenty. There's plenty of YouTube. There's plenty of games. Hell, I watched. Honest to God, it was funny because Lisa was over there. She's working from home. She's doing her work, and I'm over here watching a children's cartoon and trying to. I was watching like G.I. Joe episodes. I was like,
just e-work.
Yep, working and watching
today
old episodes of G.I.
today
Joe.
was day one for me, and I was in the literal hell of how do I concentrate, and then I look over and you're just
because our
watching G.I.
kids
Joe.
who are
I'm like,
sleeping
okay.
on the desk right now take up all of that real estate over there, and that's when you have animals. Also, I hope everybody's taking care of their animals and thought about their animals and got enough food.
PSA, don't forget your animals need food too,
and playtime.
And if you have cats, they need litter as well. And
they need to be let outside and never let back in.
They need to be let outside. And I saw a really great tweet from Chewy, which is a really great company I like to buy our pet food from. And they said, like, during this time, if you're going to be home and you're going to be quarantined, it's important to not forget that your pets are a great source of comfort and nurturing, and give it in return, and keep them stimulated and active, and play with them, especially if you're home. You know, there's so many hours where you're probably going to start going stir crazy and bored. So it's good to interact with them.
And something also that's very important that I kind of do on the regular is I will clean up my work. My desk is a little messy at the moment, but I like to wipe my desk down with a damp rag. I'll clean the seat off a little bit, because when you're sitting, like I sit in shorts all day, and you know, you know
where this is going.
Shit, at least he's wearing pants.
You get some shorty balls, and your legs get all, you know, and it's like
Not all of us.
I know, different equipment.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for noticing.
Yes.
So, you know, you clean up the chair, and, you know, I like to, you know, I'll probably I took a shower earlier. I didn't take a shower all day today. Like all day. Like this right before the show, I took
you
a
have
shower.
met one of the basic requirements of modern living. Taking a shower. Look at you.
But I'm constantly washing my hands. But no, it's, you know, I find the lo-fi hip hop channel to be something nice to listen to while I'm doing my work. But it's all a matter of just pacing, because you can sit there and depending on how your work comes in, you could blow through all your work and then just sit there and be like, I've got nothing to do. You don't want to do that. You kind of want to pace it and focus on one thing and get
Weird
it
how
done.
that works. Like it is so weird how a change of location changes so much more.
Yeah, you don't get the random drive-bys.
No,
you get the random phone calls.
Exactly.
And it's and right now it's Teams. So if the phone's ringing, then you get Microsoft Teams, and somebody's popping up, hey, I need you to do this, and it's like, okay, so am I on camera right now? Did Teams pop the camera up on me? Am I? No, you know, that's the other thing. Make sure your camera's not on when you don't want it to be on. That's one thing you don't want.
We can't look at any of that stuff. We just, you know, for us, it's kind of an on your honor system. We just make sure that when we need you,
that's really nice that they do that.
Well, to some extent, it's ability versus want, right? Like, yes, from an HR perspective, you want to make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there.
Yes.
But right now, again, because shit is weird, I just want to make sure that we're trying to do as much as we can with what we've got.
Well, that's and that's funny, because this morning when I got up, it was a. This morning I get up and my friend sends me a picture of the line for Publix, which is our grocery store here, and he's like, "This is 6:45." What?
Publix with an X?
Yes, Publix
Yes.
with a Publix. Yep. So he's standing in line at 6:45. I'm like, "What are you doing standing in line?" He's like, "My wife set me out. I have to go get some stuff." So I was like, "Okay." He's like, "So I need to get some cash," and I was like, "Shit, I did not get any cash." So,
And I'm sitting here going, for what? It's not a hurricane. I don't anticipate the
No,
ATMs.
but
break.
And the last thing you want to
gotten
do
to
is touch something that somebody else is going to touch when you make that exchange.
oh, we did.
Yes.
We got a system. We got a system for that.
Yes.
Are you
But,
laundering your money?
We
Well, of course.
Okay. It's Florida. That's what we do.
So we had a cup of coffee, and we're like, all right, let's go to the ATM. And while we're there, we realized it wasn't really all that busy. So I was like, okay,
Shockingly empty.
Let's go in and see if we can get, you know, some bread and.
The store essentially looked like a normal fully stocked day, and the parts that were empty, it was just because like they hadn't replenished inventory.
Okay.
Because you had pockets of plenty of food, no pasta.
Gotcha.
No pasta,
Plenty of food,
no
plenty of
potatoes,
food,
no pasta, no potatoes, no rice,
no eggs,
no milk.
Yeah.
But there was meat, which was okay. So Publix is known for, I mean, probably like every other grocery store. When you go in the meat section, if you shop around the outside of the store like you normally do, it's you got all of the meats. You got your chicken, the steak, the pork, all that stuff. It was all gone.
Just empty.
Never seen that before, where it's just all gone.
Nobody wanted yogurt though, because the dairy.
Nobody wanted yogurt.
Yogurt, cheese.
Stuff is already bad enough.
Even like the slice and bake cookie dough, everything was still there. It was bizarre. Even chips, microwave popcorn, trail mixes, all that kind of stuff. Plenty of it.
Oh. No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Finish.
soda, juice, all that stuff was
But the
still
problem
there.
was I got in the mindset, and I had to snap out of it. I got in the mindset of, I got in a prepper mindset. And I was reading about this on Reddit the other night.
That's your first problem.
Well, no. The thing that I read on Reddit was about somebody who, quote unquote, calls himself a recovering
Hoarder.
prepper.
Oh.
Basically, he says
Hoarder.
Yeah, hoarder. Basically,
Hoarders.
He's like, he wrote this long paragraph. He's like, so I used to be a major prepper. I used to go out there and I would go out to all the deep state sites, and I'd go out to all the, they're like, what about this? Well, have you prepared for this? Well, what if this scenario? And what he's like, it never ends. And I was actually falling into that because I was at work. I was like, okay, what do I need? I need food, and then I need ammo because zombies, right? That's what I need. I need ammo. You got to have ammo for the zombies. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I thinking this way? And
nothing fights a virus like with bullets.
Well, what happened was the first thing that got me was when you and I were talking back and forth. I saw you got a certain brand of crackers there, and I'm like, fuck, now I want those. And I'm like, let's go back to the store and get those Cheez-Its. I was like, I want Cheez-Its. I was
Big,
like, I don't know what.
Giant box of Cheez-Its.
It was that, and it was Sour Patch Kids for some reason.
And then you bought 4 Dove milk chocolate bars.
Just because we were walking by, and I was like,
as we left the store, you said, because if this is the end, you might as well go out eating chocolate. Okay.
But
priorities,
that's
folks.
rational.
Priorities.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm admitting that I fell into this trap of, okay, we are done. We are quarantining. Okay, now we're gonna go back out. So we got to go back out to the store, and then we went back and forth to the store. And then at Publix today, I called my mom to be like, hey, listen, we are in Publix because I know you guys are gonna go to Publix today. Tell us what you want, and we will get everything you need. And my mom's like, I don't really need a lot. I just need 2 loaves of bread, a bag of potatoes, a bag of onions. I need milk. I need...
So her full
All the
grocery
stuff
shopping
she's
list.
By the way, is the deli open? Yes, the deli's open. Can you get them to slice me a pound of cheese? So we're in line. She's like... So I'm like, yes, just cut us a pound of cheese. And the lady's like, do you want me to put the paper in between the cheese slices? And I'm like, I said,
Normally, yeah.
I said no because I was in a rush. My mom's like, yes, have them do that. I'm like, I don't have enough time for this. We have to get home before the zombies. And
Well, your first mistake was calling your mom.
but I wanted to
ask
make
her
sure
what she
they were.
wanted. No,
I just want to make sure they were all set because I don't like the fact that they have to, they get pushed around.
Yeah. And the real challenge for them was it's vital that they have all their necessary supplies, like potatoes, for tomorrow, the big day, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, my dad's Irish, so tomorrow's the big, yeah.
And we had to, unfortunately, say there's no potatoes. Sorry.
But we did
got
find
them a
in
bag
Walmart.
last week, the very last bag of potatoes.
But
That
then
was it.
today it hit me. I'm like, we should get more coffee. Even though I've got 4 bags, and it just snapped, and I'm like, stop. Just stop. Because you're slowly becoming part of the problem. let other people get the food. You have plenty of food. Eat through your food. You're fine. And I had to snap out of it, and that was it.
But it's
So
easy to do, and that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
as part of that hysteria, like, do I need to have as much toilet paper as I have in my house right now? Ordinarily, no. But here's the thing. You see when that's happening, you see these supplies are dwindling, and you're like, well, I'm going to need some at some point, and I can't get stuck without it, so I'm going to have to do something. And so, again, it's trying to find that balance,
Buy
right?
a bidet.
Between, I mean,
jump in the shower.
you could go out and use a hose in the backyard if you really need to.
That's
Like
true.
there are other options, but I think the thing is, it's trying to find that balance between what is the responsible amount of preparation that I need to do versus I am feeling like you can feel that sense of anxiety and panic where you're like, I have to do this thing. Like if I don't get to the store in the next 30 seconds, that 30
It's FOMO.
seconds, somebody else is going to get the thing that I needed or wanted, and then I'm going to be
Yes.
stuck. Right? It's that
sparked the Walmart trip.
It's that kind of mentality, and it's very easy to get into. And I think that's part of what makes all of this so hard is that there's so many of us that feel that way, and you get stuck into that mentality. And it's like sometimes you just have to take that breath and go, you know what? Everything's going to be all right. I'm going to where I need to go. If they don't have this, I'll find a second option. There will be other ways to figure this out. I will figure it out, and it will be okay.
Yeah.
But it's
what?
Getting to that point that can be hard.
I have a little piece of advice for people, and I figured this out the other day, and I didn't even realize it. I've been, and you see people grilling online. You grill, you smoke. I have, Neil. He grills and smokes, and
I got leftover
I don't have a
ribs
grill.
tomorrow night.
I'm not allowed to have a grill, so I cook everything I have in the oven. What I've discovered recently, folks, is that you can cook chicken and steak at the same temperature for the same amount of time, and it comes out great. You just need to flavor it however you want to flavor it. Little salt and pepper on the steaks. I put Cavender's on.
It's a Greek seasoning.
Cavender's is this Greek seasoning I use. I sprinkle that shit on everything. But basically, I set the oven for 460, and then.
I know.
Oh, dude. Let me tell you,
that's too
450
much.
to 460.
I didn't know. He told me the other day, and I freaked out.
So I put the oven at 450 to 460, and I cook the meat for 20 minutes, and it comes out
20
the
minutes?
chicken, it's 18 to 20 minutes. So
What's your internal
So
temp when
I-
you're done with that?
I don't know. There's just no pink on it. It's great. It comes
There's no
out golden.
pink on it.
The
You are freaking him out.
What kind of well done
the-
grossness are you eating?
but it's not for chicken. It comes out. So what it does is I'm quick cooking the chicken where the juices stay intact. And when you pull it out of the oven, you just let it sit for 5 minutes. You cut it in, and it is juicy.
Do you
Like, back
have
me
a
up here. It is-
thermometer, a meat thermometer?
No.
Dear Jesus,
Ours
please
broke
get
years
one.
ago.
Oh my God, please get one.
We could probably order one. Let's order it right now on Amazon.
And that's the other thing. We have to all keep talking through things. It's good that we're having this conversation right now. I think it's quite therapeutic. And I also, because it reminds all of us that we're all in this.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like us in Florida just dealing with a hurricane and everyone else is going about their business. It's all of us.
Yeah.
But it's also good because then we can talk each other out of bad ideas and kind of rationalize.
Like well done steaks. Sick man.
Yeah, I was thinking about how, we're on different coasts, but we both have to experience, natural disasters. So we're in states where we're all kind of used to having to have a certain amount of preparedness, some supplies, some understanding of,
This is the first time we're preparing for a disaster. We didn't have to get gas in the car. Because you could just go get gas.
Well, I think this is probably the first time we're preparing for the same disaster.
Yes, exactly.
That was the point I was going to get to, was just that it's the first time we got into a store and started to see the shelves just emptying out. I thought, it's creepy that this is not just in Florida. It's the first time that I've ever seen, because, when we have a hurricane coming, you'll see some of it in Georgia, you'll see some of it in the Carolinas and up the coast, but not the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really, really hit home for me, was this became so much scarier the minute, I was able to wrap my head around the entire country, the entire world. It's not just Florida. And it's the one time when I don't have family calling, going, checking on you guys down in Florida. How you guys doing down there?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all in it.
Yep.
And that's just, it's so overwhelming to think about that, to try to comprehend that. I'm still kind of struggling with that.
It can be. And I know for myself, I'm fairly confident that we have what we need here. We've taken care of what we needed to take care of. But going in, I made one last late night grocery run. It was a Saturday night because I figured, crowds are thinner, old people are home. It's probably a good time to just kind of get the last of what we need. And I went to my local grocery store. I've been going there for years, and the state that it was in, I have never seen anything like it, from its busiest days or its longest weekends, holiday rushes. Nothing compares to what I saw. And it was the first time that I really got a little spooked, where I was like, this is definitely something different. There's still stuff here. There's still plenty of food here. If I had to whip up stuff, I mean, it's not that dire, but it's changed enough where now there's that thought of this does seem like it's getting pretty real. Yeah. And then over the course of the next couple of hours, it was all right, stuff is closing, and this is what's happening, and there's self-quarantining, and the governor's coming on TV and telling people to shut down all their stuff, and you're like, all right, And so I think, like yourself, Lisa, you start to have a lot of that again, that sort of that panic or that anxiety that starts to creep up. And really, I think that for myself, what I found to be most helpful is trying to focus on what is the most immediate, the most local for me is do I have what I need in my house? Are my people okay? Are we good to handle whatever it is by ourselves for a certain period of time? Okay, if that check, I can check. Next level, call my dad, call my mom, call the grandparents. Do you guys need anything? What's going on there? Okay, you guys need this? All right, let's figure this out. And just kind of go one by one. And then from there, it's I'll let the rest of the community, I'll have to trust that they can do what they need to do for themselves. I'll do my part to help. But trying not to take on too much, I think, is also part of how you manage this situation, or at least it is for me, because with everything that's going on in the world right now, we joke about this sometimes on the show, is just, it does literally seem like the world is on fire sometimes. And I know in California that is the case at times.
Yeah.
It is overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. So trying to start with the micro and before you get to the macro, I think that could help kind of bring it down a little bit. And, like we talked about, self-care, right? What are the things that you need to do to get yourself centered, feeling good, feeling positive, feeling, some sense of internal nourishment in an emotional kind of way, not necessarily a physical kind of way. We were joking before we started recording, ASMR videos, hey man, if that's your vibe, if that's your jam, I know it works for me. Dial one of them suckers up before you go to bed, or if you're in a moment, you're oh man, last time when we were on here, I was yelling about my watch telling me to breathe. Well, tell you what, truth be told, you follow that thing, it kind of brings your BP down a little bit. And you're all right. I'm feeling a little bit, more oxygenated, and I feel a little bit better. But it is important to try to keep some sense of perspective, because this stuff can be so overwhelming. And like you said at the beginning, unlike a hurricane, we don't know when this ends. We don't know when the safety alarms are going to chime. It just, hopefully at some point, as we've talked about with a lot of the coronavirus, COVID-19 stuff, is that you want to see that curve flatten. So when they talk about that, they're talking about, the new cases, the incident rates are spiking right now, because part of that's just because we're now only finally now starting to get more testing and finally trying to get a handle on what the true universe of cases looks like. And so what we're trying to do now with all of this social distancing and isolation and all of these measures that people are trying to put into place is to flatten that curve out. And so instead of spiking, it's fewer cases are new. You got more people that are working their way through the contracted virus and trying to get to a more stable level that won't overwhelm our healthcare system. Because really that's, I think, one of the biggest concerns is that you have a spike in cases. That means you have people that need to come into the hospital, use services, get on ventilators and all of that kind of stuff. And there's only so much room. And so that
and we're trying not to get into the Italy situation. God bless them.
Yeah,
like they are in a dire,
very dire situation.
dire situation.
Yeah, and so on that note, so we've talked a lot about kind of what we've done, what our universe has been like here. I do have here in front of me the CDC guidelines. You can go to cdc.gov/coronavirus 2019. There's a whole other extension there, but if you go to CDC's website, they have all of this, and so they talk about how it spreads. Primarily, it's from person-to-person contact, being within 6 feet of somebody, and a respiratory droplet from either a cough or a sneeze, or even if they're just talking and they get a little bit of spit going or something, that can land somewhere near your mouth or your face. If it gets on your hands and you touch your eyes or your mouth, that's how you can get it. They talk about how, again, washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. There's all kinds of little charts I've seen on Twitter where it's like, here's a song you can choose, or here's a funny, little movie moment you can choose, or different things that you can recite to yourself to make sure that you get that 20 seconds in. And as you've said, Nav, it's not just, the usual times when you do it, like before you eat or after you use the bathroom, but it's like, anytime you touch your nose, anytime you blow your nose, anytime you touch a couple of surfaces, like you really have to be adamant about it. And when you are touching stuff, don't touch your face like that. And for me, that's so hard because I'm always touching my face.
That's, what? And okay, so we have gloves that we were fortunate enough to have some gloves. I have Harbor Freight gloves. We got these, what were they? Vinyl gloves. They were just
the plastic disposable
like nitrile gloves, like for barbecue.
No, I had nitrile, but the crap ones we got in Walmart because that's all they had. Well,
they almost look more like what you would use to prepare food or something. So better than nothing.
We put the better than nothing barrier on whenever you have to think about
at the gas pump.
Exactly, the gas pump is a big one.
Well, you gave everybody your big put your hand in the bag at the grocery store trick.
I was just going to say, and if you don't have that, just put your hand in a bag at a grocery store and pick up that scanner if you have a self-checkout line.
Another favorite one, this is a real big favorite of mine. Keep your own pen on you. So let's say you have to go to the pharmacy and they still make you sign a piece of paper with a pen that every person before you in line or the drive-thru touched. Have your own pen. Don't pick up the pen. Use your pen. Keep it in your car. It's yours. Nobody else has put their hands on it. That's a huge one for me.
That's solid. Yeah. That's solid.
Yeah.
So looking at ways to kind of have your own possessions take place of perhaps things that you'd use out in the community. that's a really big one. I know for me, kind of akin to that is when they have the little machine at most grocery stores where you slide your card to your chip or do your thing, and you have to sign the screen, and there's that pen that's there. I'm like, I will not touch that.
I love Samsung Bill Pay now. Like if I can use my Samsung.
Yeah, I've got it for Apple Pay. It's great.
There you go. Yeah. I love that.
Very convenient.
Great.
So there's lots of things that you can do to protect yourselves, and it's kind of dependent on what you're able to do, whether you're able to just keep yourself in a situation where you're washing your hands, or if you can't, using some amount of hand sanitizer that's, I think, at least 60% alcohol is the recommendation. Making sure that you're keeping 6 feet away from folks, that you're not getting into these huge conference rooms, or you're stuck in vehicles together, those kinds of things, which can be very difficult. to the point where perhaps if you are able to telework, setting yourself up in a position there to be healthy and successful in that, and keeping yourself safe while you're doing that. So there's lots of suggestions out there, and I recommend going to CDC's website or Red Cross. Look at your local public health, your local counties, because I find that the more local you are, probably the better direction that you're getting. So I would recommend folks check that out. So that's what's been going on with us, and I want to thank the both of you for coming on and making, as they say, chicken salad out of chicken shit on this episode with me and having a bit of a conversation. But before we go, do you folks have any last words of advice to the folks out there?
Not words of advice. It's just I have some here, going through the experience, reflecting on the fact that we're dealing with something that shows us that our arbitrary borders do not protect us, so that something starts on one side of the planet can quickly affect us all.
Yep.
So, all of our lives are interconnected and can change in a blink of an eye. So be kind to everybody out there. And, if you need somebody to talk to or something like that, hit us up on Twitter, hop in our Discord channel. If you're working from home, you're by yourself, and you just want that chatter in the background and YouTube's not doing it for you, shoot us a message. We'll hop in Discord and you can just listen to us type and chatter. It's like, God, it's boring, but, if it helps you.
There you go. How about you, Lisa?
That was beautiful. I actually have more of a specific tip that I want to give. After you've done a really good, thorough hand washing and or hand sanitizer situation, if your hands are getting really, really dry and cracked, but you're in a situation where you don't want your palms all greasy from lotion,
yes,
I like to put the lotion on the back of my hand, like if you were to bitch slap someone, you would do the. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm sorry.
Following. Go, yeah, keep going.
So back of the hand, okay,
back of the hand,
and then you take the other back of the hand, sandwich those together, and rub the majority of it in that way.
That's
and
genius.
Then you can use your palms to further work it into your knuckles. This is also a nice little self-care break if you're sitting at your desk all day and you're stressed out, or even if you're on a break from working in a grocery store or a gas station or something. If you have that ability to do so, take a couple seconds, rub it into your knuckles, your cuticles, all that gets so dry between your fingers gets really dry. And the reason I like to do it that way is because the majority of the lotion's on the back of your hands where it needs to be, and then your palms aren't so greasy. And if there's any residue on your palms, rub them into your elbows if you can, because those get dry too.
Damn.
So that's my little tip. And then you're also not wasting lotion, because right now it's really important that we be careful with the stock we have and try not to go through things quickly. But the bigger picture I can say right now is to I just want to say that I did have an incident where a older gentleman got uncomfortably close to me in my face and was trying to crack a joke with me in a store, and I very politely walked around the other side of the basket and said, "I'm sorry, you got a little too close. I'm practicing social distancing." And he laughed at me.
Yeah.
So we do have an issue with each generation believing or taking this, believing in it or not believing it, and not taking it seriously or taking it seriously. It's very interesting to see that by age. But I can say this: if you do or don't believe in it, it doesn't matter to that other person out there in public. Respect how they feel. If someone wants that social distance, you need to respect that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I will also say, just be kind. Be kind to everyone who is still out there ringing up your groceries and working in healthcare in every way, risking their lives. Just be kind. We're all struggling together. And thank you for having me. I really appreciated being on tonight.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I think we might have to replace Nav at some point. and bring you on. But yeah, it's a difficult time for literally the entire planet, and that's not something that I think we can say with such definity as often as this. And yes, taking care of yourself is important. Taking care of each other is also important, and try to maintain some sense of compassion as we go through this. If other people are freaking out, or you see something going on and you're like, man, this is ridiculous, or this is a joke, maybe people are going too far. But you never know what other battles people are fighting, and now is a time when compassion goes, as I think we've said a few times, a long way. So I hope for everyone listening that this has been maybe even just a little bit helpful. And I promise we'll get back to regular Warcraft stuff. But I felt like maybe for this episode, we do something a little different and have our coronavirus special. So on behalf of Lisa and Nav and myself, I want to thank everyone for listening. And remember to take care of yourself and each other. Bye for now.